Welcome everyone to warm and sunny Brazil. A brief respite from what we're facing here in the Midwest with our cold and snow. And for the first time in GT Americas, we head down to South America and to Interlagos for the Fox Foundation's Race for the Fight. Last week we saw Christian Challenger dominate once again, while Michael Janney, you're looking at his car there, take his first sweep and his first feature win to go with his second sprint victory of the season, sweeping at VIR. I'm Chad Irvine. Here with me in the booth today, as always, is Mike Berry. And Mike, last week we mowed a lot of grass on such a tight and narrow circuit. Tell us about this week's polar opposite track here at Interlagos.
Yeah, Interlagos, what an amazing circuit. Probably one of the greatest circuits on planet Earth. I mean, just such a fast-flowing but also technical circuit. Obviously, you got long straights, you've got tight corners, you've got long sweeping corners that, like, you really just got to put the foot down and, like, pray that you're going to make it through. I mean, just an amazing combination of corners, and, they're arranged in such a way that just makes this track awesome.
Yeah, a couple of really good passing opportunities, especially under braking. Turn 1, I think, is my favorite on this track. As that left-hander that starts the Turn 1 complex is down the hill. One thing one thing we do have to talk about here, though, is the off-track rules here, because as you'll see some of these cars driving around, there are, on a couple exits of the corners, plenty of runoff, but at the same time, there's the teal painted or blue painted that you see right there, as that's Christian Challenger running around. You cannot get your right side tires onto that surface, so you have to be really careful with your tires, because you get two kind of freebies, I guess, and then you get one, I don't know the best way to put this, you get a formal warning, and then after that, your race is over.
Yeah, it's really going to incentivize drivers. I mean, obviously, this isn't the worst track on iRacing in terms of off tracks, in terms of time gain, and that'd probably go to Spa. But you still do gain a fair amount of time. I know our last week's winner, Michael Janney, he did say that you can gain about a tenth going into turn 3 off if you basically hold your foot down on that green. So yeah, I mean, we're really, it's gonna be interesting to see how guys are gonna adapt to this, because a lot of times it's just, you just deal with it and you just keep running around and try and go as fast as possible. But now you really gotta control yourself.
And of course, this is just one of multiple events here in this season. One of 10 events. This is race number 4. And let's go ahead and look at the bigger picture real quick as we look at our drivers' standings. We'll start with the Simracer Coin GT Pro class. Michael Janney sits on top with a lead of 28 points over Ray Kingsbury. And then Josh Klog 33 points behind. And then Savian Ragster and Blake Reynolds wrap up your top 5. Then it's Pandev, Fanning, Belton, Hashimi, and Steve Lane wrapping up the top 10. I believe most of those drivers are here tonight. We do see some more notable absences over in the AM category.
Yeah, looking over at the AM category, obviously Christian Challenger dominating this series right now with a 44-point lead over Jimmy Mullis. Clark Archer a little bit behind in third. Peter Huston barely trailing Clark Archer, 4-point gap between them. Zach Novak, 100 points back from Christian Challenger. He's got a lot of work to do. And then we look at Brandon Lambert and Anthony Burrows tied for 6th. Kieran Forrest, Nate Stewart, and Seth Rawls to wrap out our top 10.
Yeah, and a couple notables from the list there. Brandon Lambert is not here. And I believe Nate Stewart is not here as well. So 2 of the top 10 over in the Red Kite AM category Drivers' Championship. Now looking at the Spark Virtual Racing Pro Team standings. Spark LLM is still on top. Followed very tightly behind by Renovo Racing Reloaded and Renovo Racing Chrome, followed by, in 4th place, Matco Tools, and then Team Red Kite Virtual Motorsports wrapping up the top 5 in the Spark Pro Team standings.
And then looking over at the AM standings, we have Richard Raceway Esports, Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak with a 105-point lead over Masterclass Performance Racing. Then Spark Lambert Motorsport just 5 points behind, so they might be able to make a charge for second here if they're able to, get that again. I mean, 5 points in the team standings, not that much. Looking back, Team Legends Never Die, they're kind of far back, but they're definitely not out of arm's reach. And then Apex Tech Racing AM, 165 points back of Richmond.
Yeah, so we've got quite the gap there in the iDrive Sim amateur team standings, but the battle for second is still waged on, as you mentioned, between Masterclass 4 Minutes Racing and Spark LMT. So one thing that we do have to mention, we saw this on Twitter in the pre-race. I'm going to welcome everybody joining us that are fans of Jimmy Mullis. This is basically the Jordan-esque flu game for him. He says he's not streaming his race tonight from his perspective, but he will be here racing and says he's just not feeling the best as we take a look at some qualifying results here. Real quickly, going through the top 10 as you see them over there on the left side of your screen. It's Clog and Pandev's another front row lockout as it stands for Team Renovo. And then Kingsbury and Janney, second row. And I'm sorry, Clog is actually, I'm getting my teams all mixed up right now. No, Clog is on Team Spark, and then it's Pandev. So not a lockout like we saw last week, but then row 3 is going to be McDonald and Ragster. So there's Janney, McDonald, Ragster, and Pandev. All 4 of the Renovo cars are in the top 6. And then it's Belton, Erdman, Reynolds, and Fanning, the top 10 over in the pro category.
And looking over into the AM category, on a pole right now, Christian Challenger, 4/10 over Jimmy Mullis with a 132.463. Jimmy Mullis running a 132.8. Behind him, Anthony Burrows, Peter Husson, and Weeva Hensley will wrap out the top 5. Briar LaPrade, 6. Jack Novak, 7. Clark Archer, 8. Taylor Carroll in 9th. And Magnus Ockenagel will round up our top 10.
Yeah, so some definitely some of the more common names at the top of both categories in the speed charts right now as qualifying comes to a close. I think the biggest surprise to me is Christian Challenger having that 3.5 tenths. So 0.363 was the gap between him and Mullis in qualifying, and the reason that surprises us is that in the pre-race practice in the warm-up session, Mullis was actually faster by, I believe, about 1/10 of a second over Challenger.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, just looking back at it, fortunately, practice times actually don't seem to be available from what I'm seeing. But yeah, it was about 1/10. So I think Mullis might be able to be a little bit more competitive here. I think we might see a good battle in the sprint, and obviously, the sprint will determine how the battle is in the feature. We don't want to see guys having to charge their ways from the back. Actually, that would be kind of fun.
Let's go ahead real quick and take a look through our starting lineup through the entire field. As we mentioned, Josh Clog on the pole for Team Spark Virtual Racing, then Pandev on the outside of row number 1. Then it's Kingsbury and Janney, row 2. McDonald, Ragster, row 3. Belton, Erdman, and then Blake Reynolds and Kevin Fanning wrapping up the top 10. And then it's Steve Lane, Marwin Mafta, Cody Cosgrove, and Tim Brokaw, with Thomas Keene starting shotgun in the GTEs.
And looking back there, Christian Challenger on the pole for the GT3 class. Jimmy Mullis and round out second place. Then Anthony Burrows, Peter Huston, Levi Hensley, and Briar Pratt will round out our top 3 rows. Zach Novak, Clark Archer, Taylor Carroll, Marcus Ockenagel ragging at the top 10. Derek Holland, Seth Rawls, John Dipple, Steve Brown, Sean Roberts, Sean Stratton, Kyle Terrio, Nick Dawson-Lathan, and Travis Seymour will round out our GTM series.
A couple of new faces as well as Rookie Racing joins us for their first race of the season. They have 3 drivers in the field. I believe that they have... it's going to be Nick Dawson and Sean Roberts are the 2 drivers. Looks like they're actually for Reflex Sim Racing, my apologies. But they are making their series debut tonight, so wish them the best of luck. And there's a look at some of the Renovo cars up towards the front of the field as we go through. It's going to be the short version here of the pace lap. Thankfully, we were able to do that. Looks like there's trouble possibly for Janney. I'm not sure that he is in the pits. It looks like he missed the start, possibly. So Janney missed the start. He's going to have to start from pit lane.
They're just going to incur a penalty.
We're going to take a look now at the pro category. Not sure what exactly has happened over to Michael Janney. He was supposed to start 4th, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case. It's going to be a huge deficit he's got to make up both here in this race as well as his starting spot in the feature.
Yeah, 14 cars now starting off our GT Pro. They're coming through turn 14, I believe. Just that sweeping corner, and now they're about to go green for that 15-minute sprint race.
A huge gap between Clog and the pace car. Gonna wait as long as he can, and he's just gonna get the jump whenever he feels like it. So we'll have to see
There he goes.
when he decides to go. And he is away, getting a great jump. His teammate Ray Kingsbury right behind him, trying to get something done there. Can he make up any spots? It's gonna be Kingsbury on the inside of turn number 1, but he's going to be on the long way around through turn number 2, and it looks like we are off and rolling the GT3s as well.
Yeah, looking back at GT3, Christian Challenger, just right. He actually loses a spot there to, I believe that's Anthony Burrow. No, that's Jimmy Bollis. Jimmy Bollis running a different paint scheme this week, my apologies. Charlie's Christian Challenger, he's probably about 10 car lengths back. Something must have happened to him on the start there, or Jimmy just got a good jump on him. Frankly, I don't know.
Jimmy with a great run. You see him running that new Sunoco Richmond Raceway Eastway. And there's trouble off in front there. A couple of the Renovo cars that are slow having to rejoin the field. And it looks like, was that McDonald and Ragster possibly?
Could have been Ragster. I mean,
that was McDonald, and no, it looks like Panda is still up front. I'm not sure.
I think it was David Ragster and Dan McDonald.
So it is still Panda and Ragster running P3 and P4 on track. It might have just been McDonald and then Jandy that had to start from the back as well. They might have been the 2 cars that we saw at the back for Renovo Raceway or Renovo Racing.
Yeah, and currently looking at the coming to complete lap 1, Josh Clogg leading him, a Spark Racing teammate of Ray Kingsbury right behind him, and he's got the 2 Renovos right behind those Ferraris, real fast on the straights. That's Sabian Raxter and Ivan Pandev.
And it looks like the other car involved there was Cody Erdman. Erdman, as he tried to rejoin, he lost control on that AstroTurf and went straight on into the wall. So he has parked it for his sprint race, and now it looks like there's your top 4 with a little bit of a gap back to 5th place. That is Blake Reynolds there in 5th in the 06. But he is being hounded right now by Jack Belton.
Yeah, Jack Belton, not a name we've been mentioning quite often this season, but he's been putting in some decent performances. Now he's challenging Blake Reynolds. Obviously, Blake Reynolds, a pro driver. I mean, just to compete with him, I mean that's pretty cool, and I think he's doing pretty well. Look at him close up into this corner here.
Yeah, Jack Belton last week finished in 8th spot at VIR, and he's looking to improve on that today, as he is currently sitting 6th right now in the sprint.
Yeah, looking back to GT3, Jimmy Mullis still holding that lead, but it's definitely shrunk a little bit. Christian Challenger trying to close him in, about a 3 or 4 car length lead, depending on where you look at the corner.
Yep, and these top 5 or so, maybe even further back. Top 5 or so is Mullis, Challenger, Houston, LaPrade, and Burrows. All 5 of them are basically within, I'd probably say a couple of car lengths of one another. So that tight pack, and then a little further back, this looks like Levi Hensley trying to send it up the inside of Anthony Burrows. Or something. That's a Zach Novak that's right in front of him. So Novak must have had something happen on that lap. Novak's actually gained a couple spots on that lap.
Yeah, good charge by him. Maybe I assume he made the move on Levi Hensley, and who's that right behind him? Clark Archer. Just Zach Novak obviously making decent work. He wants to get up towards the field, maybe even get a top 5. It's gonna be a little bit close for him though.
Yeah, he has picked up 2 spots since the start. He does have a little bit of a gap in front from him to the next car, Taylor Carroll. So he's got some work to do there. About 4 seconds or so up the road is Taylor Carroll.
Currently in both classes, neither runner-up is keeping the leader out of their sights. Josh Clogg is being hounded by Ray Kingsbury, and same with Christian Challenger to Jimmy Mullis.
And that's a look at your leader, Josh Clogg, there in the 2 car with his teammate Ray Kingsbury of Spark Virtual Racing right behind him. Just some great showing from them so far. Kingsbury started 3rd, got around, I believe it was, got around Pandev on the start and just been able to pull away. They've got about a 4/10 of a second gap, so it's Clogg and then Kingsbury by about half a second. And then another half. No, they've got a full 2 seconds out the back to Ragster now.
I think Ivan Pandev might have. Ivan Pandev's into pits.
Wow, this is not going well for Team Renovo Racing. They've already had Dan McDonald with issues. Janney missed the start.
Yeah, looks like Michael Janney back in 24th, just trying to chew his way through some GT3s right now. Unfortunate for Renovo, guys.
Yeah, that's the 3rd car that's had issues. The biggest thing for Pandev, I didn't see any contact. It looked like he just lost control of it. And there is some damage to his car. So it looks like, he just lost it coming through, I believe it was about turn 7 or 8, one of the early hairpins, and just not able to keep it out of the wall. So.
And we're hearing that the 91 of Saving Rexter has a warning for track limits. So obviously we talked. If you go over the line once, you get a warning. Second time, I think might also be a warning.
So you get 2. I guess you could call them, freebies. They're not technically free. They do count against you. The 3rd time is when you actually get your warning, and then from there, it's going to be, I believe I can't remember if you're removed they're out of the race. I can't exactly remember. Oh, sorry, a drive-through penalty first is what we're being told from our producer, Victor Vallee.
Great job you're doing, Victor, by the way. I mean, really, he puts on a great
Reynolds almost getting right into the back of Saving Ragster right there. Had to lock up, Reynolds did, to stay out of the back of Ragster.
Yeah, Reynolds is really making a good charge here. I mean, he was, I think, wasn't too far behind Ragster, but he's definitely closing up now as the laps wind down.
And Reynolds
seems to be a little bit stronger.
He started 9th, worked his way all the way up to 4th right now, and he's still trying to get onto that podium here. The thing is that every spot that you make up here in the sprint race does count towards your starting spot for the feature. So right now it is Clogg, Kingsbury, and then Ragster, followed by Reynolds and Belton.
You're noticing right now, I mean, the Chevys seem to be the favored car today. Obviously, they are so good through the corners. And that Ferrari's so good on the straights, but the straights here aren't exactly, straights. I mean, they're all slightly curved, so downforce is pretty necessary.
We saw that last week with the Ferraris just taking, I think it was the top 4 starting spots, and then Dan McDonald had to work his way all the way back up. It was still a 1-2-3 for the Renovo teams, and then McDonald had to work his way all the way back up through the fields, and this is battle for the lead over in GT3s, by the way, as we here. And they're about halfway through this race. About 5 or so laps to go, just depending on when everything cycles through. But Christian Chandler has taken every single victory, both in the sprints and the feet for this season. We'll have to see if he can do it again, because he's got to work on another skilled driver of Jimmy Mullis that's right in front of him.
Yeah, it seems like we've maybe found the way to end Challenger's streak. Obviously, last week I was joking a little bit about, like, would you be willing to drop back? He didn't really drop back now, but he's definitely, I think all the guys have stepped up because they realize we want to beat Christian Challenger because he is just so good in these cars.
Yeah, Mullis started P2, but got around Chandler on start. Very defensive.
Oh, here goes to the outside.
Chandler thinks about going to the outside. Instead, he's just going to try to get the better run off the corner. And that's
he's going to get it.
Yeah, Mullis had to come off the throttle just a little bit there to avoid the off-track warning, and allowed Challenger to get right by. We'll have to see, though, can Challenger keep his pace up? We saw in qualifying trim with the lighter fuel load, he was a lot faster than Mullis, so can he pull away?
Yeah, you see him right now. Even though he got by him, Jimmy Mullis is keeping right behind him.
Yeah, last season these drivers were 2 of the best road racers over in the Coca-Cola iRacing series. Challenger, of course, not running that this season he did qualify to run it, finishing in the top 20 if I remember correctly, but decided not to run. He took a gig actually with iRacing doing setup work for them, and he's done a great job of that, working on these cars. Jimmy Mullis, though, still with Richmond Raceway Esports, and the biggest thing for him that they announced that partnership, and that's why there's a new livery with Sunoco on it tonight.
Here comes Michael Janney. He's now made his way back into the GT Pro. Still 13th though. Unfortunately, I don't think he better do much better than that.
He's got about 4 or 5 seconds up the road to Dan McDonald. McDonald right now looking like he's battling a little bit with Marwan Mafta, one of the Spark Virtual Racing drivers there. So still up front, no change between Kingsbury and Clog. That gap's still about half a second to about a second or so. And then about 4 seconds back to Ragster. So 1 and 2, really the only battle to watch there. But there are some interesting ones further back in the field. This is looking at the 66 there, Steve Lane in the Ford versus the 18 Corvette of Cody Cosgrove. And all locking him up is Cosgrove, able to keep things clear. Did he run wide? No, he was able to keep things on the track. And then you see the Matco Tools car of Tim Brokaw right behind him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back to the front in GT Pro, I think there might be a bit of a gentleman's agreement between the two Spark Racing cars. I mean, you know, they are 1-2 right now. Maybe they're like, hey, let's get some points for the team championship. Let's get a bit of a gap to Mike Janney, because obviously, you know, he's leading the points pretty dominantly.
And I mentioned that battle between McDonald and Mafta. Mafta actually ran wide through one of the tighter sections of the course, and unfortunately lost a ton of time, lost 2 spots to both McDonald and Janney, but he now sits right in front of Christian Challoner. Yeah,
and look at this. Jimmy Mullis might make a move to the inside here. He's looking. He's looking.
He's got that nose in there. Later on the brakes, is able to get it done, though, without running wide. He is. What a battle that this is turning out to be. About 4 laps ago, 3 minutes, 40 seconds. So definitely the interesting battle between the two.
As they come out of turn 2 now, let's see, can Christian Challoner make the move back?
He has the run.
He's looking to the inside.
Mullis does not go defensive. That burnt him last time that Challoner made a move into this corner.
Oh, he's running wide though. Ooh, that's gonna be.
That was very close. If I understood the rules correctly, he still had 2 tires on the curbing, so it's still part of the racing surface. But I'm not entirely sure. That is confirmation that is from our producer. That is how the ruling works. So thankfully, you know, if you keep 2 tires on that white, green, and gold curbing, you are able to barely slide off track right there. But so far, this battle is very, very intense between Challoner and Mullis.
Yeah, Mullis really putting his foot down. He's ready to stop the dominance of Christian Challoner, and he's doing it right now. Like maybe he just struck gold with a car-track combination that suits him, but I mean, right now he's setting himself up well to break the streak.
The gap up front between Clog and Kingsbury overall is growing by about 1/4 of a second last lap. So that is about a second or so now between the two of them. Looks like most things have cycled out. It does look like Reynolds has gotten around Fanning, and back to the inside now comes Challoner. Great racing between these two. Plenty of room. He's not clear, but who gets the better run off of turn number 3?
Coming Challoner's got it for now, but I mean, Mullis is going to have the draft coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of times. You get the move done in turn 1 and just can't get the move done. There goes Mullis peeking to the inside. Can he get the spot right back? He's there. He's alongside. And they're still side by side through turn 5.
What an incredible move here. I mean, Jimmy's just going to have to hold on through the outside here. He's got 2 really... Yeah, he looks like he's going to maybe think better. No, he's not. He's going to just get right alongside
taps the brakes as well, having to stop the back end from sliding out. Mullis should have a better exit here. He thought about getting the crossover move. It's still going to be Challoner, though. Mullis with a great run on mid-corner, getting right up to the bumper, though, of Challoner. Challoner still has a head into this right-hander. And Mullis thought about almost some contact there between the two. Right on the bumper was Mullis, but could not get the inside.
I think Jimmy's going to really have to set it up here coming into Descent S's.
You have to make sure that you do not lift right here down this long straightaway for Jimmy Mullis. The long run, this is such a long straight. You need to get all the momentum you can. And it looks like Mullis did not get the best launch there. He's lost a little bit of time to Christian Chandler. He does have the
Oh, he got lap
draft,
traffic.
and
He's
he
got
is.
the draft.
Can he peek to the inside? No, he's too far back. It's a Lamborghini that's about to go a lap down, I believe.
We're at
Yeah,
2
it
to go
is.
right now.
And they should be getting the white flag this time by. Oh, this is the white flag, actually.
Jimmy's looking. Jimmy's gonna have to send it last sec. Ooh.
I think that he
I don't
knows.
know if he
Oh,
can get it
Christian
now.
Chandler gets loose on exit. Most is gonna have a better run here.
Jimmy's gonna have to really try something. But I don't think Christian's gonna let up. He's got a streak to uphold. He's got valuable points to hold.
And up front, Josh Clogg is looking to take the lead, take the victory here, and he does. Clogg gets his first victory since a couple weeks ago at Area 52 Designs Grand Prix at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So up there, it is Clogg, Kingsbury, and Ragster, your top three, with a large gap to Blake Reynolds. But this battle is not even close to over, as they still have a couple corners to go. Mullis is going to try to get the move done, but he did lose a little bit of time there.
He might have lifted there. He might have made. That might have been smart.
And he's going to get a huge run here. Can he use the draft to his advantage? Chandler gets his right sides just over that curbing, but getting the better run. And what a show that these guys have put on here.
What a battle right now. I mean, that's what we want to see in GT racing. Just good, hard, clean racing. Jimmy looks to the outside, but I don't think he's going to be able to get it done.
No, he got the move done, but it was well after the line. And what an incredible battle between those two.
Yeah, I mean, that's what racing's all about. Just good, hard, clean fighting between two of the best guys in this series. Two of the best guys on the service, really.
Yep, so real quick, before we take a quick break, let's run through your, at least the top 10 or so of each class. In the GTEs, it was Clogg and Kingsbury, your top two, then Ragster, Reynolds, and Belton, followed by Fanning, Lane, Cosgrove, Brokaw, and Thomas Keane.
Yeah, and looking back. Oh.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and then looking back at GTM, you have Christian Chandler coming away with the race, with the class win. Jimmy Mullis coming runner-up. Briar Laprade rounding out the podium. Peter Huston and Anthony Burrows finishing 4th and 5th. Zach Novak for Richmond Raceway Esports finishing 6th. Clark Archer finishing 7th. Magnus Okanog finishing 8th. Seth Rawls finishing 9th. Derek Holland finishing and rounding out our top 10.
So what a great sprint race here from Interlagos, and I am really hoping that the feature here coming up in just a couple of minutes lives up to the expectations, because they've set the bar real high. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes here on ASN TV. And we are back to Autódromo Jose Carlos Pace here at Interlagos in Brazil. I am Chad Irvine once again. With me is Mike Berry. Mike, what a great race that we saw to start things off.
Yeah, no, really good battles throughout the field in both GT Pro and GTM. Obviously, that battle at the end, but we're throughout the whole race with Jimmy Moss and Christian Challenger probably. And I don't know if that's any indication of what the feature's going to be like. Then we're in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great show that they put on. The battle up front between Kingsbury and Clog was close as well. They were separated by about a second at the line. And real quick, I can go through our starting lineup here for the 45-minute feature, or I would, but apparently I don't have access to that at the moment, so I would, but we can go through that here in a minute. But here in the warm-up, it is Janie and McDonald, and then Blake Reynolds and Ragster on top of the timing charts. So overall, looks like we're just waiting for a couple of more drivers. I think one of them, Cody Cosgrove, was having some internet issues, and he is back in the session as well. So looks like we're just about ready to go.
Gotta be a bit patient here.
But yep, looks like they're advancing
here
to
we go.
the
We're
grid.
advancing.
So we're getting ready. It is, thankfully, they do have the option for the short pace lap here at Interlagos. And we're going to see just another fun and exciting show here. So let's go through your starting lineup, starting with the Pro category, the GT East. Josh Clog and Ray Kingsbury locking out the front row for Team Spark Virtual Racing. Then it's Savian Ragster and Blake Reynolds, Jack Belton, Kevin Fanning, row 3. Row 4, Stephen Lane and Cody Cosgrove. Then Tim Brokaw and Dan McDonald. 11th and 12th are Janie and Marwin Mavda, and then Ivan Pandev and Cody Erdman wrap up the top, well, that wraps up your entire GTE category.
And looking back to GTM, you have Christian Challenger and Jimmy Mullis on the BMW walk out at the front row. Right behind them, Brian Pratt and Peter Houston, walking out the second row. Anthony Burrows round out the top 5. Zach Novak, Clark Archer, Magnus Elkinog, Seth Rawls, Derek Holland, Sean Roberts. Oh, I believe round out our top 10. Yep. Sean Stratton, Steve Brown, Travis Seymour, Taylor Carroll, Levi Hensley, John Dipple, and Nick Dawson-Wathan will wrap out our GT3 class.
Cars starting to get rolling up at the front of the field. And if I had to make any predictions, I just have to say that it's going to be really fun with this race, trying to watch the Renovo drivers of McDonald, Janie, and Pandev trying to work their way up through the field after their struggles in the sprint.
Yeah, we have 14 drivers in GT Pro and 17 drivers in GT3. So a little bit of smaller field than we've had before, but I think it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality, and I think we have a whole lot of quality.
Yeah, before today's race, the smallest field that we had in GT Pro was 17. Today, only 14. I guess the only added benefit to that is I believe that there are more points available to those that finish towards the back of this field compared to, say, a last place finish with when we had 19 back at Mosport. So pace car coming through the final couple of corners. That's Josh Clog on the inside in that yellow and I guess you'd call it gray and red livery, with Ray Kingsbury on the outside in the black and gold Spark Virtual Racing car. They're side by side, the pace car well out in front. Looks like the two guys right behind them, Rags and Reynolds, just waiting, and they're away. It's going to be Clog getting a huge jump, and then it's going to be Ray Kingsbury losing a spot to Ragster. So
yeah,
right now it's Clog,
looking for third here.
What a great start, though, from Savian Ragster, getting right by Kingsbury off the bat, just making the most of it, and going to the AM category where Challenger. Side by side, LaPrade goes from third to second, almost
three wide.
And they were further back in the field. Yeah, 3 wide. as LaPrade. What a great start for him, but he's going to fall back to third, possibly fourth, as Houston tries to work his way up the inside of him.
Yeah, Jimmy Bowles didn't get off to a great start here. Obviously now he's stuck having to battle a bunch of traffic. He needs to try and get his way up to Christian Challenger if he wants to try and break this streak. Now 7 races strong.
Very late there, and it looks like that was LaPrade that ran wide. He's going to probably get a warning from the stewards on that, but we'll have to leave that up to them. That is at their discretion. So it's still Challenger with a huge lead. The benefit of all this scrapping behind is that it allowed the Challenger 2 pullaways with Challenger and then Mullis. Then it's LaPrade and Houston, but Anthony Burrows right there with them. So those top spot of Challenger is really pulled away, but the next 4, you can just throw a blanket over them. As setting up the inside is Burrows. Clipping maybe too much of the curbing there. He caught some of the grass, had to slow down, and LaPrade still keeps, Houston still keeps that 5th spot.
Yeah,
Zach Novak, working his way up through the field as well.
Let's take a look at GT Pro. Obviously not much change. Savian Raxter running second right behind Josh Quagg, but everybody has basically nose to tail through the top 5.
And we've seen some great battles all throughout the field, and Belton, basically the only change in your top 5 actually is Kingsbury lost a spot, Ragster up to 3rd. Other than that, though, your top 5 still is Quagg, Kingsbury, Ragster, Reynolds, and Belton.
And the top 5 has remained just about the same for, almost the same for GT. You have Zach Novak gained 1 spot over Anthony Burrows, but other than that, it's the status quo.
But they're putting on some really good showings all across this field. And that was Anthony Burrows running with 3 wide, possibly down the straightaway. No, the gap closed up. That was at the Rawls in the O2 there, the Lamborghini there, that white Lamborghini, just trying to wait for his opportunity. Thinks about going around the outside. Looks like he's gonna lose the spot there.
Yeah, this is probably the most chaotic part of the track. A lot of really tight, kind of off-camber corners that you really can't gain too much on. Oh, a little bit of contact there, 62.
And you can be very late on the brakes as we take a look out front. That is still Clog, and then is a Ragster still? It is. Ragster trying to find a way around. We've seen the differences in these cars play out race and race again. That Corvette just can carry the mid-corner speed so much better. Once you get out of the straightaways, that Ferrari really wants to just pull away. So, you can do all as much as you want if you're Josh Clog to hold him off.
Look at the run.
It's a long straightaway. It's just going to be craziness and pandemonium as Clog and Ragster try to battle things out.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back at the run on the backstretch there that Ragster had, he closed into within a 10th. Oh, it's going to be close there for him.
About 2 or 3 car lengths between them at the moment, but thought about he took a really tight line there, did Ragster, in that zebra striped car. And just you can see on braking, he really closes the gap, but that mid-corner speed that I've talked about, Clog just pulls away. And thinking about going to the inside, that's tight. Almost contact again as we're out the nose of Savian Ragster.
Ragster, what he should do is he got to play to the advantages of his Ferrari, wait for the straights, and then make the move. He knows he'll probably be able to hold or at least pull away in the if he's able to make the move on the front stretch coming down the back stretch.
Further back, by the way, in the GT3 category, Derek Holland lost a couple of spots there as he ran wide. But overall, I mean, you have to just keep an eye on this battle up front. Ragster all over the back of Josh Clog.
Yeah, really getting tight into the center S's within a car length of him. Now he just has to get a good run off, and he might be able to make a move coming into turn 3.
Yeah, if you're going to make a move, it's going to be either here or down the long front straight. You have to make sure that you can't lift. The one driver that is out of this race, early retirement so far, is Travis Seymour in the 144. He was struggling all through practice, so looks like he has parked it for the day. But for the most part, everything seems to have settled out pretty cleanly. Looks like there's been an issue for the number 4 of Clark Archer, though. He's gone off track, rejoined safely, but he is about 15 seconds or so behind the next to last place car of Steve Brown.
point out real quick, Michael Janney already up 5 spots. Like he has a full head of steam right now, and he is charging.
And there he is, just working right on the back of the 17 car of Jack Belton. And just you got to take him one at a time. He's gone from 11th to 6th, and we're only 3.5 laps in.
Yeah, we still have 40 minutes of race to go.
Yeah, top 6 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see the 6 car peeking into the background. That was Janney. All nose to tail as they come down this long front straightaway.
Janney really maybe able to make up for the disadvantages the Ferraris have in the corners. As there you see him making the move on Jack Belton. Will he be able to get it going to Senna S's? I think he will. He's got the advantage. And he's going to make it.
The nose there of Ragster just peeking, but can't get the move done. But further back is Reynolds gotten by Ray Kingsbury. So that's
Janney got a little bit in the grass on turn 2 there.
And there's a huge gap now. Blake Reynolds getting up to 3rd position, but all that this has done is open the door for Clog and Ragster to pull away just a little bit. And the two of them have kind of peeked to the outside. Now is Ragster, but covering the move off is Josh Clog. Clog still up front.
Ragster's got to realize that his best move now is to make it on the straights. And does he even want to make it now? Does he want to just sit behind Clog, wear him out a little bit, and then make the move when we start getting down to crunch time?
Yeah, talking to Ray Kingsbury here, the kink on, talking to him before the race, that kink in the front straightaway, the final turn, turn 15, that Corvette really likes to step out on their setup. I think they're running a very low downforce. I think they have to here. Making the move, almost some contact there. Ragster locks up the back end, steps out, and I think that Clog, both of those drivers actually did a really good job to save that one. I'm not sure that there was contact or not, but all that did was allow Clog to pull away just a little bit. About 8 to 10 car lengths a gap now.
I mean, I think...
and losing another spot, by the way, is Ray Kingsbury. Is Janney going to get by him as well? In turn number 1, he is.
Jack Belton might even get to him.
Something might be wrong with Ray Kingsbury's car. I think that this might be the first time this season that Ray has completed 2 laps without damage to the front end of his car.
Just used to having the damaged car, man. I mean,
and he's driven them very well all season long. He's gotten podiums all season pretty much, but Jack Belton right on his back bumper.
Yeah, this track is just so different from everything else we've raced at. I mean, maybe Mosport is probably the closest comparison, but everything else is a lot, faster, a lot longer straightaways, a lot more flow, and this is really tight and complex. Really, you gotta wonder, maybe Ray Kingsbury put maybe a little bit more fuel in. I mean, we've seen guys run out for some reason a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he did run out of gas the second to last week last season, coming to the line out of the final corner. He had possibly the win, but unfortunately came second after running out of gas. One thing that I do want to note, and you can take a look at your timing and scoring there on the left side of your screen, your top 5 in the AM category, all BMWs. The next 5, all Lamborghinis. So really you can see the balance of power between those 2 cars is very interesting. It must be something in the setups because, I mean, I don't know if it's that you have to run more downforce in the Lamborghini or what it is. That's just quite the surprise to me.
Well, I think the Lamborghini does really favor the straightaways. We saw that it was the dominant car in the Daytona 24 hours. BMW wasn't too far behind though, so I mean, a smaller technical track like this probably suits the front engine BMW a bit more.
Working on our 7th lap here in this 45-minute feature race. Top 5 in the Pro is Clog, Ragster, Reynolds, Janney, and Kingsbury. And then down in the AM category is Challoner, Mullis, LaPrade, Zach Novak, and Houston. This is a look at the AM category, the GT3s of Novak and Houston, the battle for 4th place on track. As Houston, Novak really wants to make a move here and get by.
And to point out real quick, it's it looks like Challoner's been like 0.2 slower than Mullis has been on these last couple laps. is he maybe saving his stuff, or is Jimmy just that much faster?
Only time will tell. There's still 35 minutes left in this race. Mullis is driving hard. It's going to be interesting to see maybe Challenger saving his tires for the end. As we're making a move is going to be Peter Houston on the outside of Zach Novak. He was side by side, but gave the inside to Novak, and Novak was able to pull away. Almost dinged doors as well going through that last corner, but Novak able to get clear by about 3 car lengths now. This is a look back up at the overall lead. Clog and Ragster starting to pull away. And there's to the inside, very defensive from Janny. But Reynolds gets the inside. Oh, there's contact there. That's Janny spinning around.
That's Ragster. That's Ragster. Oh, wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
All of these Renovo cars look very similar. You see every single car going by. Every single one of those is a position. And Janny, I believe it was him that had trouble in the feature gridding. He did start 11th, worked his way all the way up to 3rd. But my goodness, that is just not the result that you want to have. We'll have to see. Do we have a replay of it? I hope that we do, but...
very happy, unhappy Michael Janney on the radio right now.
Yeah, if you want to take advantage of this, going forward, it's going to be, you have to be very... You have to basically make the most of this. You're one of the guys that got a free spot from us. Kingsbury was dropped out of the top 5. He's now running 5th. He's let Reynolds. We do have the replay of it. Let's see if we can't take a look at that. Very squeezing him over, and maybe some netcode. Looks like Reynolds kind of had the car step out on him as well. But
don't forget, guys. I mean, Michael Janney is our point leader, so this could let Josh Clog and Saving Ragster really start pulling him in.
Yeah, Ray Kingsbury is now up to 4th. He was second in points, or second in points coming in. There's a look at your overall points. A 28-point lead coming in. And JD, of course, did not get any in the sprint. I think Ray took 5, I believe, 4.
He finished 2nd place.
Okay, yes. I'm still trying to get used to the new sprint scoring that we have here. But anyway, taking a look at a couple of the battles back on track, Challenger has about a 1.5 second lead on Jimmy Mullis, and then 5 seconds back there to LaPrade. Novak has worked his way all the way up to 4th in class, picking up 2 spots so far. Taylor Carroll, the bigger mover in the AM category, up 9 spots from the start of the race. Right in front of him, though, dropping 1. Ben Carroll. And there you see all 9 of Lamborghinis and Burrows. Burrows, Oakenhog, and Carroll there, all nose to tail as they go through a couple of the slower corners here, working their way back onto the long front straightaway. And that's John Dibble right there hunting from the back of the pack.
See, I think a bit of a change of scenery maybe for a couple of these guys. I think, if I'm not wrong, John Dibble, that's a new paint scheme?
Yeah, they are. The LRL team, really rocking some new sleek looking. They do have the dual racing stripes and the resemblance of Madco Tools, but no, that's... And I was thinking the same thing. Our producer Victor Valley kind of confirming my thoughts to make sure I'm not completely crazy. It does look like an old NASA rocket of some sort. Yeah,
obviously trying to appeal to the name value of our series. I guess in favor with the officials.
Now, unfortunately, there are no style points awarded in the series, but I do have to say that those look very, very good cars up there. And going up the inside, Burrows trying to get the move. They're side by side. And that's going to be a spot picked up for Anthony Burrows. Yeah, Dipple's lost a couple car lengths on these cars, but with a huge run here is Oakenhog. Can he do anything with it?
Arrow going to walk to the inside. Maybe think better of it, though.
Yeah, very late on the brakes there was Burrows. He was able to keep, looks like his left side tires on the curbing there, was Burrows. So No harm, no foul there as they continue down into this long right-hander. Very sweeping corner. I like the variation here between some of the sweeping corners, and then you get the really slow, tight corners as well, back to back. So definitely fun to watch here at Interlagos. Unfortunate thing is that I would have loved to have seen is Matt Kingsbury. He is serving a one-race suspension for point accumulation during this season. Unfortunate for him because I watched him race this last season in some of the official races, and he really loves this track. So unfortunate not to see him out here for Team Spark.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, you do the crime, you do the time, I guess. I mean, just
Gap up front is about half of a second or so, but Michael Janney. Yeah, Janney, we talked about him getting very hot on the radio after his incident. Must have said something the people did not like because his voice communication had been disabled for the rest of the evening.
oh, that action's detrimental to sports car racing.
It's going to be Burrows, as you see, pulling a little bit of a gap to these two cars. It looks like Oakenhawk going to have a look around the long way on Carroll. They're side by side through this long left-hander. Running wide into this contact as well. That's Carroll into the barrier. And Dipple collected in that as well. Dipple, the teammate of Taylor Carroll. Or of Magnus Oakenhawk, sorry. Oakenhawk got off scot-free there. Looks like maybe some damage to the left side. Yeah, see if... for the most part, it looks pretty clean. Yeah, it looks like maybe just trying to make the move stick, trying to avoid the penalty from running too wide, and unfortunately just not enough room there between between Oakenhawk and, was it Carroll? Yes.
Yeah, both these guys have pulled it in now, so that's going to be their race over. Really unfortunate. That was a great battle. Really going to be hopefully shaping up for the next 20 minutes, but...
And this is a look back up front for fourth position. That's Ray Kingsbury. And he is working, he's got his back bumper being closed in on by Jack Belton. And it looks like Dan McDonald right there behind Belton made up over 3/10 actually on Jack Belton. So the battle for fourth, fifth, and sixth are really heating up between those three. And that Mercedes, that slow lap car, that's Steve Brown almost getting in the way, almost impacting that battle, but my goodness. And could we see the move? It's going to be a very defensive line, you have to think, from Kingsbury. We see, and Kingsbury sweeps all the way to the outside. He's going to want the preferred line in turn 2.
Looks like he's going to get it side by side.
Kingsbury holds it.
Oh, no, in the grass.
And Kingsbury clipped the grass, and all that this does is allow Dan McDonald to close right back in on the three of them.
That straight line speed to Ferrari. Ooh, that's gonna be a bit controversial. Jack Belton kind of blocking there. Maybe he was just looking to the inside.
I think he was trying to make the move on his own there. I don't think that there was much to be said about blocking. But yeah, this battle between Kingsbury, Belton, and McDonald really heating up. They've got about a second and a half out front to Blake Brown. So basically, the podium seems to be locked up, barring mistakes. But Kingsbury, Belton, and McDonald, the battle on track to watch right now.
Yeah, saving ranks are falling back. I think we're starting to see that weakness of the Ferrari. Really was pretty strong at the beginning. He was able to hold on to Josh Quagg, but Josh was just a little bit faster every lap, and I think that's going to cost saving. Now he's kind of fallen into clutch to break Reynolds.
Yeah, the gap out in the GT3 class as well is pretty much neutralized, about 1.7 seconds between Challoner and Mullis. Mullis to LaPrade then for second to third is 6 seconds as well. So overall, I mean, we've got some great battles all throughout the fields. Be interesting to see as they go through. 25 minutes still remaining here. That comes to about 16 laps or so for these cars on the circuit. Gonna be really fun to watch as time ticks down.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy and Christian, they are running very similar paces. Jimmy was about 2/10 faster 4 laps ago, but then he lost those 2/10 to Christian over the last 2 laps. So, I mean, we might see a battle here. They're very evenly matched. If the faster cars, the GT Pros, if they start causing a bit of trouble, we might see a battle for the lead in GTM.
These guys have been going at it for a while now. This is Peter Houston and Zach Novak that we're looking at. That red and black Sunoco Richmond Raceway Esports machine of Zach Novak, followed by the red kite machine of Peter Houston. And both of those are the BMWs, so same manufacturer between the two. It's going to all come down to setup and driver skill. And you know, if it was me, I'd probably have gotten too nervous racing around such a high caliber talent between these two.
Yeah, I mean, both of them just really talented. Obviously, Zach Novak, a bit of a household name around here. Former champion in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. But Peter has no laughing matter either. I mean, he's been making a really strong charge tonight, running 5th. Maybe make a charge to Blyer or Plaid to take 3rd.
And you can see what the gap has opened up to there between Clog and Ragster. That you see there, that's Clog. And just right through the background, working on that lapped car, is the Renovo Racing machine. There, that's the gap from Ragster to Reynolds. And that's Sean Roberts there in the 51 that they are working on. And this is actually a battle. These guys just went a lap down to the overall leaders, but they are still battling between themselves. This is Robertson Archer. Robertson at 51. We mentioned is his first race of season. And Archer made a mistake there going wide. And it looks like he went maybe too wide there. And there's, I believe he's running in 4th position. Yes, Ray Kingsbury getting around. He's on the inside, able to keep things, plenty of room. And right behind is Jack Belton saying, "Thank you very much. I will take that hole you just punched and follow you right on through." And all that the battling of lap traffic has done really is allowed Dan McDonald to catch right back up to these guys, because you can see there it's Kingsbury trying to get the inside, gets the inside down this long straightaway, but right behind him the door is really, Jack Belton is just knocking, waiting for his chance, waiting to make his move. Will he get anything done down the inside here in turn? We saw him make the move to the inside last time through. Can he do it around the outside this time?
I don't know what to find out. Oh, I want to point out real quick, Michael Janney. Obviously, we saw him charging through. He is just disconnected. He had a bit of an incident coming out of the final corner. And, yeah, that's going to be a big hit into points to him. Ray Kingsbury might take the lead here. I mean, that's going to Janney's going to finish dead last here.
He's going to be 14th. Yeah, he's still going to take, I believe, 16 points. And Dan McDonald working now right on the back bumper of Belton. Yeah, so 16 points being taken there by Michael Janney. Depending on where Kingsbury finishes, 4th place gets 32 points. So that gap could close basically down to almost nothing. It's still 28 points at the moment. So
and right now, if he holds his position, doing the math, adding along the extra time or the extra points we gained from the sprint race, he closed into about 8 points of the leader.
And a great effort there from McDonald working on the lap traffic, but at the same time, these GT3s doing their best to just kind of stay out of the way, out of the battles. And something has happened to Ray Kingsbury, it sounds like. We talked about him getting involved in...
Look at that McDonald making a move on Jack Belton to the outside.
Yeah, it looks like he's still maintaining speed. He still ran at 31.5 last lap. That's just about on pace. So that's matching. Yeah, just getting our cars mixed up on the track. But no harm, no foul from us. You know, drivers, you know, they might make mistakes as well. So we can do it up here in the booth.
And taking a look back to 5th, the battle between Jack Belton and Dan McDonald hasn't stopped. McDonald almost made a move on Jack Belton going to the center S's, but he just wasn't close enough. Now he's got to kind of trail him through the slow, snaily sections, and I don't know. That Ferrari is just not as good as the Chevrolet here. So let's see.
Yeah, this is where you see the gap really close in, and we're gonna go further back in the field. This is Cody Cosgrove, and it looks like Fanning must have made a mistake because those guys were running real close with one another. They're the battle for ninth. But yeah, Fanning has that position now and looks to pull. He's got about a second and a half there back to Cosgrove. This is still the best battle that we've seen on track so far between Belton and McDonald.
I think McDonald's gonna have to wait a little bit. Maybe if he sticks in the draft, he's able to just do some weight breaking here. He's gonna try and close in. He's got a lap car there. I think that's the.
Can he get the run off the corner? That's where it's going to come in because we saw the mid-corner speed there from McDonald. Normally we see Belton pull away in those scenarios, but instead this time McDonald really closed up the gap.
Yeah, just.
They're going to get clear of that lap car time. And way wide there's Belton, but wide as what was McDonald. Both of them going wide there.
That's going to be a controversial call there. I mean,
I don't think that you can't, you know, Belton didn't advance his position, definitely lost time doing that. McDonald, though.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for McDonald. I mean, he's probably only going to get a warning for this, but he might be asked to concede. I don't know how they're going to handle that.
I don't think you can. I just don't think that would be the right decision, but we'll have to leave that one up to the stewards. So Belton now having the tables turned on him, trying now to work on the back bumper of McDonald. We'll have to see if McDonald was just holding up Belton, or the other way around. Belton was just holding up McDonald that entire time.
Yeah, now to P5. I think this is the. He started 10th. He's now halfway up the grid from where he started. Maybe he can make a run onto the podium. We'll have to see.
And they battle for the lead, closing up maybe just a little bit. Still about a second or so. 1.5 at the line it is. Between Clog and Ragster, they still have about 3 seconds or so back to Blake Reynolds. And then Christian Challenger is still about a 2.5 second lead back in the GT3, the AM category.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's just been losing a lot of time to Challenger there. I mean, I don't know if Christian can hold. Apparently, Challenger did lose a 10 to Jimmy Mullis there, but I don't know. He's been gaining for the last couple laps, so I don't think a 10th is going to make much of a difference.
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be who is saving their tires the most. Is this just Mullis trying to save it for the end? Be interesting to see because he might have thrown it all the way doing that, trying to, you know, he might make a charge at the end, but I don't know that he'll be able to get back this 3 seconds that he has to Challenger.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he definitely was a lot more aggressive than Challenger was on that early run. I mean, just looking at the times, he went from running, 2s and 4s to running 7s and 8s. He ran a 4 2 laps ago. If he comes across the line, we'll see what this is for. Oh, he already went across. Oh, I'm behind. Sorry. I
made my mistake for the night, and you just got yours out of the way as well. So. Yep. So the best battle on track is between Belton and McDonald. We saw that swap just a little bit ago, and McDonald pulled maybe a car length or two out since then, but overall these cars are still barely, are basically matching each other lap for lap.
Yeah, it's nice to see how even we matched the manufacturers are. I mean, obviously the Corvette is faster through the second and third sectors, but I don't know. It's not so bad as it was with the Fords and the Chevrolets.
A huge run here for Belton. He's going to peek to the outside. They're side by side. Does he get the crossover move done? He's thinking about it. The door is open. Can he get there? He is there. If I remember, no, the next corner is going to be right here. Now he has the outside on McDonald, but no.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Belton called McDonald's bluff there. I think Belton was hoping he wouldn't make that move. He did. I think that's just going to start scaring McDonald. He doesn't think he's going to make that move there, but, it's all about playing the mind games with 15 minutes to go.
If you can hold the outside side by side through turn 4, you can definitely get the move done in turn number 5, but that's a move that's really tough to make. 15 minutes to go as time starts to wind down here. It's still Clog, Rags, and Reynolds, the top 3 in pro.
I think Jimmy Rose made a mistake. He lost about 4 seconds there to
Yeah, he lost
Challoner.
a ton of time to Christian Challoner. Wow.
Oh, he just got loose coming into that second hairpin. He had to go into the grass a little bit.
Unfortunately for him, he loses a ton of time, but fortunately he had a large enough of a gap out behind that he did about 8 seconds. Now that is down to about 5 between Melissa and LaPrade. Yeah, that's the battle between LaPrade and Novak. They've swapped positions a couple of times as the race has wound on.
I don't know if Ray Kingsbury's been gaining time or losing time. Let's take a look. He has been gaining a good bit of time actually on the battle behind him. Just really, he's just looking at his rear mirror and saying, "Just keep battling it out, boys. I mean, I'm gaining seconds on you."
He also gained a 10th on Blake Reynolds. He's still about a second and a half or so behind Reynolds, but that gap is slowly but surely closing.
Yep. And with 13 minutes to go, I mean, if there's any time to start putting the hammer down, it's right about now. I mean, you can't be waiting around for forever. It's just really gotta start pushing.
2.2 the last time by the line for Clog over Ragster, the advantage. As there's a look at the number 1 car of Ray Kingsbury, just charging his way, trying to get back up to Reynolds. So far, though, Ray has done a fantastic job of keeping himself out of trouble. Lost a couple of spots off the start, but still holding down 4th place nicely.
Indeed. I was about to go check on a battle between Cody Crosgrove and Kevin Fanning, but Crosgrove went way off into onto the last corner. Looks like he maybe got loose.
There you see him rejoining safely. Fanning Mafta.
They made contact, yeah.
So Marwan Mafta, we've seen him over in the Rallycross series as well that runs on Wednesday nights. Yeah, we did have a week off over there this week. There were talks about doing some sort of an all-star race for fun event, but instead we decided to give the drivers a bit of a vacation over there, and now set to wrap things up the same week that we will here in GT Americas. 2 series that basically run Wednesday and Thursday nights. I think that this starts at 8:30, and the Rallycross series starts at 9 Eastern, and you can catch both series here on ASN TV, both on Twitch and YouTube. Put on a good show over there with Dylan Batty and Josh Mertz on the call for that one. I am Chad Irvine. Here with me is Mike Berry as well, as we're ticking down about 11 and a half or so minutes left here in the Team Fox battle in Interlagos. And what a great battle we've seen all throughout the field in both the Pro and the AM categories.
Just looking back to the Pratt and Novak, they're nose to tail right now. But they do have the leader, Josh Clog, right behind them. So they are going to have to let him by eventually. I don't think he's going to be keen to be held up. He's looking to the inside now on Zach Novak to his door. He's probably going to be able to get Briar Prad too. 2 for 1. And now both those guys are lapped down. Oh, got a little bit close there with Briar Prad though.
Yeah, I think they thought he had more exit speed than this.
They're side by side
for Novak. Next corner is a tight right-hander, but up the hill. Can Novak keep the outside? A little loose on entry was LaPrade. He's still got the nose still there.
Him.
Novak probably going to get the cutback move with the better exit, but no, can't get his nose there. He's still right on the back bumper, though, of Briar LaPrade.
He's just going to have to hold off, I think, until the straight. He's not going to be able to make a move here. Just about keeping right on the bumper. So tight around here. I think it's only looks like 3 or 4 car lengths wide. Can't remember the exact measurements. I know I'd know them if I looked them up, but haven't looked them up obviously.
Just a reminder, by the way, this race is for charity on behalf of the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. Feel free to donate using the link in the YouTube chat or on their website, michaeljfox.org, and make sure you donate under the team racing for the fight as well. We raised over $200 in the Daytona 24 racing with Team Spark Virtual Racing, with plenty of drivers that you see here racing there as well, with Steve Lane, Ray Kingsbury, Josh Fogg, a bunch of those guys putting on a great show for charity in the Daytona 24, and they're coming out here doing the same for charity in NASA GT Americas.
Yeah, and now you see at that battle between Novak and Pratt, Blake Reynolds kind of splitting that up, looking to the inside of Pratt now. Oh, it's tight there.
Thankfully, the straightaway speed will allow LaPrade to be clear by the time they get to the next corner, but all that did was let Zach Novak catch right back up after losing some time. The faster cars giveth, the faster cars taketh away from both LaPrade and Novak. What a great battle for third here in GT AM.
And looking up at GT Pro, that battle between Dan McDonald and Jack Belton has not slowed down. They're still about 4/10 off each other. I mean, McDonald's pulling away a little bit, but it's not in a way that Jack Belton hasn't been able to pull him back in.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds still the gap for Clog, and about 7 to 8 seconds is the gap for Challoner over Mullis and GTM. But this battle right here is still probably one of the best ones on track between Novak and LaPrade.
We're gonna have to look here real quick, but I think Blake Reynolds might be closing into Sabian Rexter. We might have a battle for second. Sabian Rexter actually did close in a lot on Josh Clog, but he gained on Blake Reynolds, so I don't know if it's gonna be enough.
Half a second that lap, still plenty of time to go, but it all depends on where you catch lap traffic. If you make up that much time, it's likely not just on pace alone. Something has to be hampering laps. With the way that this race has gone, especially with how they're catching lap traffic. Catch a car in just the wrong spot, and it can throw off basically your entire next section, next 3 or 4 corners, or even along straightaway. Getting loose a little bit there with LaPrade. Jimmy Mullis getting ready to lose his lap. Mullis and Challoner are the only 2 cars in the AM category that have not lost their lap yet, but Mullis getting ready to do that right now.
I think Mullis just did.
He just did, yep. So about 8 seconds up the road is Challoner, and we'll have to see, but I don't think that there's any way that Challoner does not lose 1 lap here in this race.
Yeah, and that did hold up Josh Clog a little bit. Sabian Rexter looks closer than he has in a long time to be able to get that draft.
And this is the battle back for the podium in GTE, the AM category from LaPrade and Novak. Novak with a great run. Is he going to have his nose up the inside? He does not. He's going to have the tighter line running just a little bit wide. There is LaPrade. Exit is compromised and 3 wide then with McDonald. Thankfully, though, these faster cars, it's going to be 2x2 with McDonald and Belton.
Don't ignore this battle right here. This is
both of these battles are for position.
Yeah, we've been talking about both these battles for a while. I mean, it's
the two best fights on track for position, right next to each other as lap traffic comes through.
Good for us. Good benefit of multi-class racing.
This is the closest battles on track. The best benefit of multi-class racing is you can see multiple passes for multiple positions between multiple different cars on one track. There
yeah.
Almost. Yeah, we talked about that outside move there for Belton, but could not stick it.
There he goes. There he goes. He looks to the inside, but not quite. He thinks better.
No, still too far back really to make that move. You have to be really late on the brakes if you want to make the move like that. But still, I mean, McDonald and Belton, they've been battling for such a long time.
He's been really late on the brakes, really just pulling him in here.
Yeah, and you can see
great to watch.
That launch on exit for McDonald is where the Ferrari really comes into play. Almost getting into the back there was Belton, some evasive maneuvers, but able to keep things clean between the 2 of them, and they are still off and running, trying to see who's the better exit here down the long straightaway.
And Jack Belton was a little bit on that blue there, but it's not enough to incur a penalty, I don't think. Now he's going to try and get that run down the straight, but he does have to be wary of that Ferrari's front end or top end speed.
I wish I had more to say. He's got a huge run. I wish I had more to say about this, but I'm just as speechless as you are because these guys are just battling. To the outside is Belton. Can he hold it there? No. Had to get on the brakes. Maybe too heavy to avoid running wide, and that's going to allow Dan McDonald to open the gap even further than it was before.
Yeah, I think it might be just best for us to just let the viewers filling the holes here. I mean, what can we add to this battle? It's so exciting. I think we've said enough. I mean, I'll look around and see if there's anything else happening. For now, let's keep our eyes on this.
Novak has gotten by Laprade. Laprade really seems to be struggling, pushing very hard to keep up with Zach Novak, who's now pulled away by about 10 to 15 car lengths. So the battle really is just between Kingsbury and McDonald on track right now.
We only have 4.5 minutes to go. Josh Clog, where is he? He is just coming up to the final corner here. I think we're going to be about to see maybe the 3 to go sign here.
Yep, 4 minutes to go. Should be 3 more laps at the line this time. Yeah. I'm just keeping you updated overall. This is the battle between McDonald and Belton. But it's still Clog out front by over 3 seconds. Followed by Reynolds, Kingsbury, and then McDonald in the top 5 there. Back in the AM category as well as Challoner, Mullis, Novak, Laprade, and Houston. And that battle between Novak and Laprade really fizzled out as it looks like Laprade just burned off his tires trying to keep Novak at bay.
We do have a small battle for 8th here, for 9th in GT Pro, Kevin Fanning and Marwan Mafta. Marwan closing in a little bit, but it's all about that top end speed into forward.
And this is the battle for 6 in the AM category between Burrows and Oakenhog. Just the way that this battle really seemed to come out of nowhere. It might have been something to do with the way that they've caught lap traffic, because they had a decent gap between them just a couple of laps ago.
Oh, oh my God, he's on the wall!
That's dangerous. That's dangerous trying to keep it out of the wall. I don't think that there was contact. But who's going to get the better launch? It's going to be Oakenhog. Oh, but Oakenhog picked up the throttle too quick. He had the perfect exit. He was going to have a great run down this straightaway, but unfortunately picked up the throttle too soon. Back end steps out, and he lost all of his momentum.
Unfortunately, that battle for 5th has fizzled out a little bit as they've caught Jimmy Mullis. Thanks, Jimmy. You already ruined the battle for your class, so you couldn't have kept the battle for 5th in GT Pro, could you?
This is Seth Rawls and is that Clark Archer that are battling for position right there. There is a little bit of damage on the back end of Archer's car. The right side of the wing bent up just a little bit, and that might be slowing down his top end speed because Rawls is... And maybe there's... It's just the slightest upslope there, at least that I'm seeing on the rear view. But internet does weird things, and we'll have to see how everything works out.
Indeed, I mean.
By the way, that Clark Archer car is just a beautiful, beautiful paint job. We're talking about the NASA-looking paint schemes. That front end of that car just looks like it has the charred kind of. Looks like it was just burning up through re-entry, and you just see the way that everything kind of fades from black to white as it goes towards the back. He's got the United States as it was printed on the space shuttle as well on the rear wing. So what a great livery that we're seeing from Clark Archer today as well.
Point out, Christian Challoner has just been lapped.
This is out front. This is Josh Clog. There is nobody behind him. About 2 seconds or so the gap, Savvy and Ragster. But that's Josh Clog getting ready to take the white flag here at Interlagos.
What a dominant display it's been by Josh Clog. He needs to come out here and make a statement. Obviously, with Michael Jenny having problems, he came out here and showed, hey, I can make a charge for this title. He's going to gain a ton of points on Michael Jenny here. So I think he's winning every lap.
This is looking now at the battle between Ragster and Reynolds. About a second is the gap with only 1 lap to go. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Looks like no, Nick actually sounds like he had a penalty possibly handed down by the stewards. We'll have to see if he.
I mean, he's sticking. I mean, he's sitting on the side of the road and backwards. I'm pretty sure that's not a penalty, and now he's pulled it off.
Yeah, he is towed back to the pit lane. he was in discussion with he was in discussion over the radio with Ray Stewart, so I'm not sure maybe that a penalty was handed down and he wasn't sure how to take it, or maybe he had some sort of panic reaction, but unfortunate for him.
Here comes Josh Clogg through the vinyl corner, wet every lap. Started first in the sprint. Anything you want to say here, Chad?
Well, he swept the events at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and he's going to do the same here at Fox Foundation's Race for the Fight at Interlagos. Josh Clogg, checkers once again. And Ragsdor by
Christian
about
Challenger off the final corner.
3/10 of a
He's going to win
second.
his class again. 8 races in a row won by Christian Challenger. What a showing by him.
What a fantastic job overall. Jimmy Mull is going to take second as well, a couple of seconds behind. Then Zach Novak finishes third in GTM.
BMW 123, a former Coke driver 123 in GTM.
Top
top
five
five
in GTM is BMWs.
Next.
Meanwhile, over in the Pro category, the top 7, 4 Corvettes, 3 Ferraris, and then 2 Fords as well. So wrapping up the top 9. Corvette wrapping up the top 10 of Marwan Mafta. Marwan Mafta, great showing for him as well. From 12th to 10th, really able to hold on. I think that's one of his best showings of the season.
Yeah, he was kind of struggling over there early on, but I think he was able to really, make a charge back and prove why he's in the pro category. I mean, he's really just doing a good charge here. I think we're now going to get ready to bring some of our winners into the booth.
Yep, we're just going to give just a moment there as we wait for some interviews. But real quickly, let's go through the top standings. It's Clogg, Ragsdor, Reynolds, Kingsbury, and McDonald, followed by Belton, Pandev, Erdman, Fanning, and Mafta. Looks like Josh Clogg getting set to join us here. See you. And Josh Clogg now joining us, driver of the number 2 for his team, Spark Virtual Racing. Josh, what a great showing. Your second sweep of the season. How does it feel?
Very good. Very happy with that one. All worked out, really. I was pretty worried about the Ferrari pace, but I was able to hold them off, and it was a good race.
Yeah, it looks like kind of towards the end of it, the battle between Ragsdor and Reynolds and a couple cars behind you really opened the door for you to pull away. 2.5 seconds the gap. How'd you pull away so much?
Just consistency. Keep it smooth and easy. I made sure to not cook the tires, towards the beginning. I noticed he was catching on me at one point, but just buckled down and hit the marks and was able to get a little gap, and then got lucky with the lap car, which broke his draft, and from there, just able to keep the gap.
Yeah, week 1, you did fairly well. Week 2, a sweep. Week 3, okay. Week 4, is this week 4 you sweep again? Is this going to become a pattern, or are you just going to have you take every single even-numbered race this season?
I hope not. I hope to have a little more consistency. It really has been all or nothing, it seems like, but hopefully we'll iron those out and smooth it up.
The points leader coming in, Michael Janney, had some issues today, both in the sprint and the feature, really opening the door for yourself and your teammate Ray Kingsbury. With that door closed, opening up for you guys just a little bit, the gap kind of dwindling down as we approach halfway through the season. What's your thoughts on that battle and both between you and Janney as well as versus Renovo?
Just really hoping to smooth it out, get the good consistent finishes, hopefully not have any bad weeks, and attack it like that.
Yeah, real quick, just looking for. I'm just doing a bit of math in my head right now, but if my math's right, you have just taken the points lead. I mean, we still do have about 1, 2,
6
3,
races.
4, 5. We have 6 races to go. I mean, obviously anything can change from there, but I mean, you think you'll be able to pick up where Janney's faltered?
Yeah, I've kind of lucked out and done well in the races he's done bad in, so it is kind of even in that regard. So going forward, just got to keep that mindset.
And as we wrap things up here, sounds like you got a full house there behind you. Any shout outs you want to give? Anybody you want to thank?
Yep, absolutely. Family watching, surely. But very happy to, this race in particular. We did the 24-hour stream, raised $200, $200 for Fox Foundation. So to bring this win home with the Fox Foundation sponsored race, very happy with that. So much appreciated.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun racing that with you. Congratulations on a win here, and we will see you next week for another great show as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's Josh Clogg, driver of the number 2 for Renovo Racing. And we're going to move next to Christian Challoner, driver of the number 78 BMW 4 Team iRacing. Christian, 4 for 4 so far over here, and I guess 8 for 8 overall in NASA GT Americas.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I feel like that was probably the best car that we've actually brought for the first 4 rounds. So that was pretty cool. Had a little bit more time to kind of get something together, so I wasn't sort of rushing setups together for the sprint and the feature kind of like in the server. So that was cool. Yeah, I was pretty happy with pace. Obviously had a good battle with Jimmy in the sprint. Kind of a normal deal at this point. Um, and then he was hanging out pretty good in the feature, and we were probably gonna have another battle there, I think, but um, he had some real life intervention which lost him a couple of seconds, so that was kind of unfortunate. Um, I would really like to see inverts though, because inverts I think would make the features so much more fun.
I would too. I think all of us would love to see it. Seeing you even just kind of work your way through and having to, not compromise yourself, but still letting faster traffic through as well has been interesting to watch. Maybe talk about some of that. How do you kind of balance between fighting your own battle with Jimmy as well as kind of letting the faster guys through?
You meaning with like the GTEs coming through kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Yep.
Well, so with that, it's really kind of situational. So at the end there, when I pulled to the left a lot to let that lead battle. Well, it wasn't the lead battle, but it was kind of like second place battle through. The reason why I kind of pulled across so aggressively and just sort of parked there was because I had the gap that I did. I mean, I wouldn't have done that if Jimmy had been really close to me, but because I had the gap, I knew that I could kind of do that, and it wouldn't hurt me, but it would help out everybody else. So that that seemed fair. In most other cases, I think it's just a sense of don't deviate really from your own line and make it pretty clear in the sense of what you're going to do to a GC kind of coming up behind you. And obviously, if there's an easy opportunity to let one by on a straightaway, then that's really the goal. But it's mainly just trying to not lose time by doing things like that. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be fighting the GT car like into a tight corner or something like that, because you end up being pretty level on speed, but you just slow both of you guys down. So you want to avoid that.
Yeah, we went from VIR last week to a completely opposite track this week in Interlagos, and next week going back to Road Atlanta. Maybe take a look at that track. What are your thoughts on that one?
Got a lot of laps at Road Atlanta, especially recently. So I would say that's yeah. I'm pretty confident for that one. Probably just based off of what I had for Interlagos here. I mean, I'm pretty much using the same idea in terms of setup everywhere. I use 230 newtons per millimeter front springs, 150 in the rears, and that's pretty standard actually. I've kind of plus minus 20 newtons per millimeter either side on that. Seems to be a good region to be in for this car. So if anybody else is driving the BMW, I definitely suggest you try those because they seem to work pretty well for me. And realistically, it's just a case of getting wing angle right. Obviously, Road Atlanta, there's a little bit of a trade off because it's so easy to pass on the backstretch if you've got no wing on, but you kind of want some security through the S's and whatnot. So
Right.
yeah, it's just a case of you run as little as you dare really without sacrificing much lap time.
And I got one final one before we let you give your shout outs, but top 5 all BMWs in your class. The next 5 all Lamborghinis. Is it just something in the cars or setups that are making that difference happen?
Um, I mean, so in the top 4 BMWs, so you had myself, Jimmy, Zach, and Briar. We're all on the same thing. That might have a little bit to do with it. I'm not sure, but you got to consider, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way to anybody else, but the top 3 in the BMWs there are all I mean, in my case, ex pro GWC driver. And in the other case, you got a Coke Series champion there in Zach Novak, and you've got a guy who got very close to contending for a Coke Series championship in Jimmy Mullis and Brian LaPrade, who's on that team and runs with those guys a lot. So it's uh, you got some really capable drivers. Obviously, Jimmy last year in the Coke Series was one of the three best road course races. Zach has had a pole in the Coke Series at Sonoma, so you got guys there who are very capable at driving on road courses, and I think I kind of think it's a good thing in a way, because you know that if you can beat those guys, then you kind of you're at a pretty good level, you know. So I think that's got something to do with it. Um, I mean, I'd happily say that I could swap to any of the cars in the class, and then I think I'd be able to compete just the same, really. So I don't think there's anything car related. I've driven all of these plenty to say confidently that I think that's the case.
And we'll let you go here with the traditional shout outs as we wrap things up.
Yeah, I just really got one shout out this week, actually. One of my close friends, really, who actually helped me out a lot when I kind of got back started on iRacing, especially in terms of team racing. Who was basically the guy who ran the Blackadder team and the Kinetic Racing team. John King is having a pretty tough time right now, and yeah, that's we had some less than great news about his condition this week. So just want to give him a shout out. I know there's a pretty slim chance that he'll get to see this, but just want to say I appreciate all the help that he's given me, and even considering everything, like at this point, I mean, I joined the Blackadder team like back in 2015, and I pretty much spoke to him on a weekly basis ever since then. So yeah, it's tough to see kind of my friends having a bad time. The last one over Christmas, and yeah, it's a bit rough.
It's sorry to hear that, man, and congratulations on the win. And we'll keep him in our thoughts as we go through this week.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's Christian Chandler, driver of the number 78 BMW 4 Team iRacing. Thanks for joining us here tonight at Interlagos for the Fox Foundation's Race for the Fight. Make sure to tune in next week for the Peach State Classic from Road Atlanta. Also, don't forget to stop by these same channels on Wednesday night for the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. For Mike Berry and our wonderful producer Victor Vallee, I'm Chad Irvine. Race hard, race safe.